All right, this is the second part to my spiel on beating depression and fighting through tough times. And my name is Angelo. Welcome to the State of Euphorbia blog. If you haven't checked out any of my stuff, this is the second part of this series today, and I wanted to go through a little bit of this. What I mentioned earlier is my condition, which is, in a quick run over, is I'm experiencing oligodendroglioma, which is a rare type of brain tumor that I have. It's a glioma. It makes up about 5 to 20% of all brain tumors, and I was diagnosed about not quite 2 years ago. But I'm sure this thing has been going on for a while inside of me before I was first diagnosed. And my first diagnosis in September of 2013 happened when I experienced 3 grand mal seizures, and then I had a biopsy of my brain. They pulled a little piece out, and they determined that this was a stage 2 oligodendroglioma. The term oligodendroglioma comes from oligo, which means a few, like an oligarchy, meaning like a few people have all the power, but oligo means a few, dendro, tree, and glioma, which is a type of brain tumor. Now, a few trees is because if you look at it under a microscope, because of the way that the blood vessels are forming in the brain, it looks like a chicken wire or like a tree branching out. So that's what they've determined that I have, and it's about I believe a 4 by 6 centimeter right in the left frontal lobe and just partly into the parietal lobe just behind it. So anyways, I've talked about medication nation. We live in a nation where big pharmacy runs a lot of what we're dealing with. Thank goodness for the public option, in my opinion, because I'm able to afford a lot of this stuff. I've worked my whole life, but I have not been insured. Not that I want to take any of this crap, but these are the 3 meds that I take. I mentioned earlier that I am on the Valproex, which is also known as Depakote, levetiracetam, also known as Keppra, and that's more of that, and also oxcarbazepine, excuse me, which is also known as triliptol. So I have all these pills every day. This is what I take in the course of a day. So, anyways, I don't feel so happy about having to take medication and remembering it every day because I've got a lot of stuff on my plate anyways. But, what I do enjoy is the fact that it's created a drive in me to become more health responsible. I used to smoke cigarettes a bit. I used to drink a lot more alcohol in beer because I was a beer connoisseur. And I used to do a lot of things that probably weren't the best for me. My diet was very heavily gluten-based. I was vegan, but I ate a lot of fake meats and shit like that. So, anyhow, I don't want to be boring like a lot of these people that get up in front of their own camera and talk and go on and on and on. So I'll try to wrap things into a real quick and easy to digest segment. What I want to talk about is depression and loneliness and how to kind of bypass that and how to make yourself as happy as you possibly can be. I think there's some keys to a physical state, no matter what you're dealing with, as to how to circumvent feeling depression and feeling loneliness. There's probably like 3 or 4 that I always narrow it down to. The first would be just having a general positive mental attitude. No matter how badly you feel and no matter how low you are, what I did, and this was on April 28th, I marked on my calendar, I'm like, this is the first day. Shit's changing on this day. No matter what, I'm going to be more positive of a person. I'm going to, stop drinking alcohol because I'd fallen back into drinking after about 1.5 years off since I was diagnosed. I decided also on top of that, whenever my mind wanders into a negative thought of thinking crap about somebody or, doing things that are not healthy for me, like wanting what someone else has or thinking like, why can't things be better for me, this, that, and the other thing, I try to bring it back around again and be healthy for myself, not greedy, but healthy for myself to think, Today is your day. You're going to do it. You're going to make it happen. You're going to accept some of the things that you're not able to control. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel a little bit angry, but don't ride that feeling too hard. Don't stay on that train too long, because if you do, you're just going to wallow in a world of self-pity and despair, and you really have to change the way things are. Now, I'm saying this now, but I also still fall into these ruts, and it still helps me to make these videos and to say these things for myself, because I know if I don't, that it's easy to slip. So what I'm doing is I'm always thinking, I'm going to beat this thing. So far, no one has ever overcome an oligodendroglioma in their brain. They've lived with it. Some people have lived with things a lot longer than they were told by their physician. My physician's telling me we got about 2 or 3 years before we have to start doing radiation, before we have to start doing chemo. And I'm like, not angry really at the doctor, but what do you know? You're fed by Big Farm. I'm going to do this my way, and I'm going to win this. If it comes to that at some point, I will do what I have to do. But right now, I don't have to do that. I am strong on my own, and I'm going to do it. So positive mental attitude, whatever it takes to have that attitude, And when you look at that, some people like, positive mental attitude, that's cheesy, that's corny, whatever. You're like a goody two shoes. What are you, a Bible thumper? Whatever your belief is, whatever your strength or your core comes from, you're going to be laughed at by other people, or you're going to question your own integrity. Forget that. Forget the haters. Steve Harvey, who has been a little inspirational to me. I've listened to him speak a lot. He's very sort of evangelical and a little, he's Christian to a degree. But you know what? He's not so much preaching about what people need to do and what to believe in. He's just talking about his own experiences. He said something that really stuck with me. The stronger you get and the higher you feel, there's always going to be more haters that try to bring you down. Like new level, new devil. And that really sticks with me. It makes me laugh too. New level, new devil. The higher I'm getting, the further it is to fall. And more people want to knock you down. It's easier for you to fall on your own the higher you get. So I'm going to keep fighting and keep going higher and higher. But the higher I get and the better I feel, the more humble I have to remember to be. Because just like that, you never know. You could wake up one day, have a couple of seizures, and next thing you know, you could be in a worse condition. You could die. So every day is not a given. Every day is a gift. So I have to remember that every day when I wake up. The other points that I'm trying to get to is things that you can control within your own world physically. One is sleep. Try to get to sleep at a reasonable time and keep that time relative every day. It's hard for me because I have a lot of anxiety. Even last night, I took a nap yesterday and I didn't go back to bed until 1 o'clock in the morning. And then I slept another 12 hours because I've been feeling sick lately. I've had this head cold. But I knew my body needed the sleep. So I slept like 12 hours. And I slept in and I felt a little bit better today, and I'm really slow going, but as soon as I got up, I felt like, I don't want to do anything, but I made this turmeric water that I was talking about earlier, and I feel better. Another thing is diet. Make your diet something that you know is good for you. Don't eat crap. Do some research about what's healthy for your body. We live in a society where all that's being done is we're being bombarded with garbage that we're putting in our body. We all know the routine. We live in a society where there's so many people are obese. And it's not that we need to judge these people, but we need to look out for ourselves. We need to say, what can I do? X on the calendar. Make changes today. If there's things that you can control them. Don't make excuses like, I can't do it, I'm too busy, I got to eat on the run. No, your body is the temple. It is sacred in your life. You only have one life to live, and, we're not working towards an end to where we die, and that's it. We're not working towards, okay, I got to get a car and a house, have some kids, and then I'm dead. That's nice to have all those things, but you have to make yourself happy before you can make anyone else happy. And eating right, I'm reaching down here, This is what I've got going today. I'm going to juice this. This is full of greens and veggies. Learn about juicing, not just juicing, but smoothies or thickies or whatever you want to call them. Learn about the correct proportion of vegetables to fruits, because you don't want a lot of sugar in your diet, and fruits can also contribute to a lot of sugar. So educate yourself. Educate yourself as to what it is that can make you happy and healthy. So sleep, exercise, positive mental attitude, and the other thing is stress. And I think that ties in with all of it. Don't stress yourself out. Take time to breathe. Try to meditate. That's one thing I'm really working on, and it's one thing that I'm reaching out to friends to do. Meditation. And I'm going to add an extra chapter to this 2-part series that you can watch if you've liked what you've listened to so far. I didn't mean to go on and on. If you feel like I have, I appreciate your feedback. If you like what I've had to say, I also appreciate your feedback. I want to make this better for people at home that are actually checking in on what I've got to say. I want to talk more about loneliness and dealing and coping with loneliness, because this is something that's been an issue for me throughout much of my life. And in the 3rd part, I've said there was only going to be 2, but I'm at a bonus part, which I've done this a couple times before, if you know me, because I have a lot to say and a lot that's on my mind, no pun intended. But I have a lot that's on my mind, and I want to talk about loneliness and coping and dealing with it, because it is something that really affects many people. So join me for the 3rd part. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in, and this is Angelo saying peace.